Do you believe in Shedeur Sanders yet? Listen, belief isn't a hashtag. It's the slow, messy accumulation of flashes, fixes, and film room work. Sunday in Nashville gives the Browns rookie a clean stage to turn flashes into a thesis. The Titans are beatable. The matchup sets up like a laboratory, a young QB who can make you pay when he escapes the pocket against a secondary that's thin and shaky. Mike McCoy didn't waste words when asked about Sanders. He pointed to the upside every NFL evaluator sees: the ability to extend plays and to strike the defense when the pocket collapses. That's not coach speak, that's an admission. This kid is dangerous when given space. Let's be honest about what we saw in his first two starts. There are highlight reel throws, a 66-yarder, a 34-yarder, that show arm strength, timing, and a feel for the deep window. Those throws are proof he has the arm and the vision to flip a game in a heartbeat. But there's also the other half of the tape: pockets that turn into pressure cookers, footwork that drifts backward instead of stepping into the throw, and a habit of holding the ball a frame too long. Those frames cost yards, turnovers, and sometimes entire drives. The Browns know it. Sanders knows it. Mike McCoy noticed it too. And when an opposing coach calls you very talented and immediately points to both good and bad, what he's telling the league is simple: respect the flashes, prepare for the mistakes. This upcoming game feels like a pivot for two reasons. One, Tennessee's secondary has been banged up and thin. The team moved Roger McCreary at the deadline, and practice reports have left holes in the depth chart. That creates windows for a quarterback who can anticipate and punish mistakes. Two, the Titans are defending a play action and tempo that the Browns can exploit if they trust the vertical game. Give Sanders a structure that reduces decision-making stress, scripted early plays, quick hitters, designed rollouts, and he can use the parts of his game that made scouts drool. Pressure won't vanish in Nashville, but the Browns can manufacture better pockets and clearer reads if they choose to. There's a narrative layer here worth unpacking. Sanders was a fifth-round pick who slid in April, a draft day mystery that carried equal parts criticism and intrigue. He didn't get first-team reps for most of the season. The coaching staff prioritized Dillon Gabriel's development, a defensible choice, and that left Sanders with a compressed learning curve when the injury curse opened the door. You don't teach pocket rhythm in a week. You don't fix micro footwork in soundbite interviews. What you can do, though, is build a game plan that hides predictable weaknesses while amplifying natural strengths. That's what put calls to action in the Browns playbook. If I'm the Browns this week, here's the list I want them to check off. 1, script the first 12 plays and make the early sequence a confidence engine. Quick outs, mesh concepts, maybe a couple of screens to draw the front and buy the QB rhythm. 2, use motion and formation to create simple reads. Take decision-making off the quarterback's plate in the early series. 3, protect him mechanically. Chip blocks, tight ends staying in to pass, protect early, and a lot of two-man routes that demand smaller windows rather than entire progressions. 4, design the plan to let him get out of the pocket on his terms. Boots, RPOs that reward his eyes, and rollouts that convert pressure into playmaking. Do those things, and you don't just hide flaws. You put Sanders in a context where his best instincts can win plays for the team. We should also talk about matchup psychology. Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick taken well before Sanders, is going to be under the microscope this weekend too. For the rookie quarterback in Nashville, there's a flavor of personal validation. You were drafted later, you earned a start, now go prove your draft stock matters. That kind of motivation can be useful, but it can also push a young QB into risk territory, trying to do too much because the moment feels like a referendum on worth. That's the emotional minefield teams must manage: turn hunger into methodical aggression rather than panic. And then there's the defense. The Browns still have Myles Garrett, the game's most consistent off-tackle headache, and a coaching staff that can create pressure even when the pass rush is schematized. If the Browns can generate pressure and force quick decisions, that helps Sanders by flattening the field and creating more predictable reads. One of the most underrated parts of a rookie's development is not just how they throw, but how the defense plays in front of them. A well-timed blitz or a turnover can shift practice room lessons into game room confidence. But let's not sugarcoat the risks. A rookie who holds the ball too long is a rookie who will get chewed up by NFL speed. Those sacks and negative plays are not only drive killers, they become habit builders when repeated. The Browns have to balance his chance to make explosive plays with the cold arithmetic of downs and distance. Coaches and play callers should value process over heroics this week. The scoreboard demands a win, but development demands structure. Here's the simplest way to frame Sunday. It's a test of the Browns' judgment. Do they want to find out what Sanders can be by giving him a protective plan, or do they want to fling him at the wolves and see if he survives? The better question is whether the organization is ready to give him honest minutes on the terms he needs right now. If Gabriel returns healthy soon, the Browns face a tough call, but that decision should be built on real evidence, not viral moments. Mike McCoy's comment that Sanders makes explosive plays outside the pocket is not a prophecy. It's a warning and a compliment all at once. Tennessee will prepare for that. They'll try to collapse the pocket and force him into quick decisions. He'll have to show that in those moments he can be decisive without getting reckless. That's the signature of quarterbacks who make the leap. They don't merely make plays, they make the right plays at the right time. So what should you watch for on Sunday? Look at the first two series. Are the Browns simplifying or leaving him to improvise? Watch his footwork on quick drops and his eyes on progressions when the pocket compresses. Count the number of designed rollouts or bootlegs. Those are coach-molded attempts to leverage his mobility. And finally, measure his composure on 2-minute sequences. Does he climb or crumble when the clock matters? Shedeur Sanders' upside is undeniable. His growing pains are obvious. Sunday in Nashville is the kind of game where those two truths meet and a verdict begins to emerge. If he walks off the field having carved the Titans' secondary into manageable chunks, you don't need to believe in him. You can point to tape and say, plainly, that's a starter. If he stumbles, it's not a sentence. It's more homework. Either way, the Browns and their fans should want to see the experiment run with intelligence, not spectacle. This is the NFL. Guile, growth, correction, repeat. For Sanders, the next page is Sunday. For Browns fans, it's a moment to watch whether flashes get coached into a quarterback or whether chants on the internet end at highlight clips. Either way, whatever happens, the honest test starts on the field, not on the timeline. Picture a pretty small window on a messy calendar, a game that smells a little like mercy, a little like opportunity, and a lot like a chance to rewrite the narrative. Browns at Titans in Nashville isn't the season-defining showdown, but for Shedeur Sanders, it might be the moment that turns maybe into watch this. Mike McCoy didn't mouth coach speak this week. He pointed at a real thing. When Shedeur gets outside the pocket, he makes explosive plays. That's a quote that matters coming from the opposing bench. Scouts and coordinators don't hand out compliments like participation trophies. They hand them to the players who force adjustments. McCoy's point is simple. This kid makes game-changing plays once he's got room to run his eyes and his legs. That recognition should give Browns fans hope. Not because it's pretty, but because it's true. Matchup math helps the optimism. The Titans rank near the bottom in passing efficiency. They've shuffled pieces in the secondary, they traded Roger McCreary, and they've been thin enough that Wednesday's practice report listing Jalen Armour-Davis out with an Achilles issue doesn't feel like a coincidence. It feels like a schematic advantage. Put it this way, if you're a rookie who stretches the field, a porous secondary is basically permission to be aggressive. Now the tape. Shedeur's rookie stat line is soup and